What are Jin and Yena really hiding behind these heartrending lyrics? Why did the army actually feel uneasy after a live performance that was supposed to be a happy moment? And is it true that BTS staff themselves leaked the hidden plans behind Don't Say You Love Me and Stay Tonight? Why does something feel different this time? Why is it that when everyone applauds, some of the army actually cries in silence? BTS's Jin and Yena's live performances of Don't Say You Love Me and Loser at Dingo Music were supposed to be a heartwarming, emotional party. However, behind the soft light of the stage lights and the beautiful vocals that echoed, there was something that could not be explained in words. Something that gives goosebumps, not out of sheer admiration, but out of fear of unspoken truths. What exactly is the meaning of the hidden message in the songs? And why is it rumored that BTS' own internal staff accidentally leaked the conflicting concepts of two new songs, Don't Say You Love Me versus Stay Tonight? Is this just an ordinary musical rivalry, or an inner battle that has been trying to hide? From behind the lens of Dingo Music's camera that seemed to capture the perfect moment, the audience keenly realized one thing: Jin's expression seemed too calm, too cold, even for his size. Not the usual professional calmness, but rather a flat expression that almost seemed to force a smile. And Yena, despite her usual energetic performance, some of the lyrics she sings sound too personal, too piercing, too honest. The question is, honestly, for whom? Many fans are wondering, why suddenly appeared the song Stay Tonight, which conceptually strongly collided with Don't Say You Love Me? Isn't it common for album promotions to be structured with a consistent emotional flow? But here, we find two poles colliding, one about the wounded rejection of love, and the other about the fragile hope that someone will stay just one more night. Is this a reflection of two opposing hearts in one project, or a hidden message from two artists who can't speak their hearts out? However, that's not all. One of the most astonishing things is the emergence of allegations that BTS's own staff leaked the plans for these songs because of the emotional exhaustion that Jin experienced. One unnamed inside source said that Jin shouldn't have done the fan meeting last week because he was recovering. But it still shows up. Stand still. It remains to sing Loser with eye highlights that cannot be lied to. The eyes are empty, tired, but it contains one message: I have to do it for you guys. Did HYB turn a blind eye to Jin's condition? Some army even found a pattern behind this release. In the song Loser, there's a lyric section that reads, I'm nobody's hero, but still have to save the world that doesn't know I'm dying. This sentence left many fans speechless. Not because of the beauty of the poem, but because of the power of the wound that feels so real. Is Jin talking about himself? Is the song not just a work of art, but a hidden scream from someone who feels burdened by the expectations of the world? And do not forget about Yena. The song Don't Say You Love Me that she sang with Jin seems to be not just an ordinary ballad. Some netizens noticed that there was vocal play and intonation that changed at the end of the song, as if they wanted to say something unwritten. Is this a personal message to someone? And is Stay Tonight actually a form of resistance from Yena to the initial concept that was too painful? When these two songs were aired simultaneously by Dingo Music, some fans were confused, others frightened. Why is a song with a desperate feel juxtaposed with a song full of supplication? Why do titles like Answer Each Other and Betray Each Other? Don't Say You Love Me, a phrase that rejects feelings. But Stay Tonight, an appeal for someone to stay. Who refused? Who survives? And who gets lost between the two? The next surprise came when one of the senior army fans from South Korea posted an unreleased audio snippet, claiming that it was part of Jin's early demo song titled One Song's Not Enough. The title has never been officially announced, but the lyrics are very moving. One song is not enough to explain this pain. One song can't wash it all away, but I still sing because you asked me to. Is this really a deliberately kept secret song? Or part of the message that the agency closed because it was too dark? Is this the reason why many armies are now demanding transparency from HYB? Didn't we believe all this time that they'd take good care of the artist's health? But what if they just keep the image? Jin is in the spotlight for choosing to keep performing despite being clearly exhausted. Yena was called too emotional in the live recording. And the concept of "Don't Say You Love Me" versus "Stay Tonight" is like opening a Pandora's box that has been locked tightly. Who decided on this concept? Is this an artist's whim or a corporate strategy? Why are there so many contradictions in this release? More surprisingly, some ARMY noticed that in the last fan meeting, Jin had said, "Wait a little longer. I'll say it in music." This remark has now gone viral as netizens associate it with the meaning behind the release of these latest songs. Is this a sign that the genie is coding? Or a signal that he has sent an important message just that we have not understood it yet? On the other hand, Yena has not yet given any comments. But in an Instagram story, she wrote, "That song made me repeat a story I don't want to remember." The sentence immediately sparked wild speculation. What does story mean? Is the song "Don't Say You Love Me" not just fiction, but a reflection of personal experiences that are too painful to talk about directly? Today, thousands of comments flood Dingo Music's uploads. Many write of awe and admiration, but not a few also wrote deep concerns. Because it's not just about the song or the vocals or the visuals. It's about the truth wanting to come out, but being held back behind the stage. It is about two artists who are dancing on the coals of Luca. One song is not enough. Then how many more are needed to make us really hear? And the biggest question of all, are "Don't Say You Love Me" and "Stay Tonight" two separate songs or two sides of the same truth? They say music never lies. But what if music was used to hide the most painful things? ARMY is now staring inside, trying to piece together the puzzle. But in a world full of censorship and promotional strategies, could the real message ever really be heard? Or is it too late? Are you ready to hear it again with your heart, not your ears? And if the song is really about the last wish, could this be an emergency call that we didn't have time to answer? Don't say you love me unless you mean it. Stay tonight, though I know you'll leave in the morning. Did you catch the meaning? Or are you too, like all of us, too busy enjoying the melody to forget the crying behind it? Is what we have been hearing just the part they want to show, while the most important part is precisely hidden between pauses of notation, breaths, and barely audible minor notes? When Jin sang the last verse of "Loser" in Dingo's live performance, his voice trembled slightly. The camera captured that detail. Some might think it's a singing technique. But who can ignore the fact that his voice breaks, not because of high notes, but because of two deep cuts? And why did Yena seem to avoid eye contact with Jin during the last part of the refrain? Was it because they knew if they stared at each other, everything would collapse? When fans began to dissect the lyrics of "Don't Say You Love Me," they found a phrase that literally implied disappointment over a love that was announced but not kept. But there is one part that makes the heart beat uncontrollably. "I'm singing this song not for you but to forgive myself for letting you go." Is this Jin's voice, or Yena's voice, or the sound of both? The song was touted as a duet, but many began to wonder if it was actually a breakup song that was too personal to simply be referred to as a collaboration. What's really going on behind the scenes of Dingo Live? Why is the selection of songs sung so contrasting? As if Jin and Yena wanted to show that there are two narratives that are colliding with each other at the same time. And reportedly, a leak submitted by BTS's internal staff stated that initially there was only one song prepared for this live session, "Stay Tonight, Then Why Change?" The source also mentioned that after the recording process of "Stay Tonight," Jin personally requested that another song be included. The reason? Because I have something to say. If I hadn't listened to this song, I probably never would have. This sentence, which is said to have been heard from the training room, made many soldiers feel pain in the chest. What makes Jin feel his time is tight? Is it about health, mental distress, or an emotional message that must arrive before it's too late? On the other hand, there was also speculation about Yena's position in this project. Some longtime fans noted that Yena seemed to be too immersed in emotions while singing a solo part in "Don't Say You Love Me." In fact, there are netizens who find that the chorus of this song is almost identical to Yena's old demo when she was a trainee, a demo that was never released but is known by hardline fans. Is it a coincidence, or a sign that Yena slipped fragments of her past into this song? And what about "Stay Tonight"? Why is this song barely promoted explicitly in the Dingo teaser? Why does it seem to be a shadow of Don't Say You Love Me when it has a message that is no less powerful? I don't need an appointment just tonight with you. After that, let me cry aloe. Some fans began to highlight something that had previously gone unnoticed. In the behind-the-scenes clip, which was only uploaded a few hours after Dingo's performance, there is a short scene when Jin looks at the lyric sheet, Don't Say You Love Me, in the rehearsal room. He took a deep breath and then wrote something on the piece of paper. The camera only captures it in a glance, too fast to read. But a fan with observant eyes managed to enlarge the screenshot. And there, vaguely legible handwriting Jin. If this song is my last, at least I'm honest. What does that phrase mean? Is Jin signaling that this is the last song he really wants to deliver? Or is there something she's been hiding all this time that she's finally decided to let go of? What's even more confusing is, in the short interview session after Dingo Live, Jin didn't say much. Usually he is always warm, full of humor, even when tired. But this time, he just nodded, then said quietly, "Thank you for listening." Sometimes not everything can be explained, but you can feel it, right? A simple sentence, but it's striking. What exactly is he trying to convey? Shortly after the performance went viral, rumors surfaced of the staff having been involved in EXO's early album projects. They mentioned that the song Loser was originally written to be sung solo by Jin as part of the album's emotional reflection sessions. But when Yena came to the studio for a separate project, suddenly the mood changed. Yena, who is known to be cheerful and energetic, was seen sitting quietly when she first heard the draft Loser. The staff present at that time admitted that tears simply flowed from Yena's eyes, although not a single verse had yet been sung. He only listened to instruments and melodies. It was a song that felt like an open wound, he said later, when asked about the collaboration. And for some reason, I felt like the song was talking about something that I had also been hiding. Did Jin and Yena each carry the same wound? Is Loser really not about love, but about the betrayal of the entertainment world that forces them to always smile, even when fragile? One astounding theory began to spread among fans, that the two songs, Don't Say You Love Me and Stay Tonight, were hidden conversations. A two-way dialogue wrapped in music, not just between Jin and Yena, but between the artists and the world they live in. It's like there's something you want to shout, but it can only be conveyed through tone. The lyrics of Stay Tonight describe someone who desperately wants to hold on to a moment, even though they know it's only for a moment. While Don't Say You Love Me feels like a rejection of love that comes too late. If we put these two songs in a logical order, then Stay Tonight is the final plea, and Don't Say You Love Me is the cold answer that comes after it's all too late. And if that's really the case, who is asked to stay that night? And who ends up saying, "Don't tell me you love me"? Is this about Jin's personal relationship? Or is it about Jin's relationship with the army, with industry, or even with himself? One thing that made many people even more stunned was Jin's reaction at the fan meeting that took place just 2 days after Dingo's live performance. His face looks very tired. But more than that, his gaze was blank. Some fans who attended the event claimed to feel a different aura from Jin. He was friendly as usual but distant, like someone who smiles from a distance while it is sinking slowly. Even in one session when a fan chanted, "Appa, don't forget to rest, we can wait," Jin just smiled and replied, "Sometimes we can't wait. Sometimes you have to keep going, even if your body tells you otherwise." That sentence, which sounded light on the surface, actually sparked great concern. Fans began to speculate that HYB was reimposing Jin's schedule in order to maintain the momentum of EXO's album, especially after rumors circulated that BTS staff leaked Jin's concerns regarding his health. It is said that he had begged for the fan meeting schedule to be postponed because he was still in the recovery period after filming, which was draining. But the request was denied. Even Yena, in her personal live stream, had said, "I hope everyone can rest. We don't have to pay for happiness with health." Is the sentence intended for Jin or for himself? And what exactly are they carrying together? Furthermore, fans found that in the lyrics of Loser, there are sentences that are not included in the digital version, but are clearly heard in the live performance. And if I'm missing tonight, please don't look for me. I just want to be quiet. Those words made the entire fandom community tremble. Is this a sign that the genie